Welcome back, Broke Baller fam. As many of you know, Miss May right here was born at home in the water, unassisted, and so we're just going to share her birth story with you guys today. I have it all written out because, as many of you know, moms, dads, people who have had kids before, you forget a lot about birth in the months after it. So I wrote it all out. I'm going to read it to you guys today and just give you a little bit of info about how this little lady was brought into the world. So here we go. On Tuesday, December 18th, I was feeling like a lot of pregnant women. I was done being pregnant and I just wanted to have my baby in my arms. So at around 9:30 p.m. I went ahead and took a tablespoon of castor oil. I was terrified that it was going to run me to the bathroom, but at that point I just really didn't care. I was done being pregnant. So I didn't feel anything until a little after midnight when the first contraction hit. It was mild, so I went to sleep. I had some more contractions after that, but I was able to sleep through all of them until 4:30 a.m. And that's when I couldn't sleep any longer. They were intense. So no, where is it? I decided to clean, set up my birth affirmations, and do any last minute things before labor took over completely. I didn't wake Kenny up. I just wanted to get him all the sleep that he could at that point because I knew it was probably going to be long, and so I didn't wake him up at that point just yet. But he got up around 6:30 in the morning anyway because he was waking up for work. So that's when I told him that the castor oil had worked the night before and that I was having contractions. Then after that I told my mom I was in labor, and we just talked for a little while. We took my last picture of me being pregnant in front of the Christmas tree, which was really nice. And then the contractions started to space out a little bit, but I still couldn't sleep through any of them. Whew. At 7:30, this is still in the morning, 7:30 a.m., I leaned over my birth ball just to get a little bit of relief, and there was a gush. My water had broken just that quickly. I was so surprised because with my first birth, baby Ken, which was a hospital birth, my midwife had to break my water. So my water breaking on its own with May was completely a surprise. I told Kenny, who was sitting right there, I was like, my water just broke. And he's like, are you sure? And I just had to look at him and laugh. Like, I'm definitely sure that my water just broke. And when I was laughing, that just caused even more gushes. So I was 100% sure that it was definitely my water that had broken. What happened after that? We called all the family members, and they said that they would arrive later. And I had been in contact with my doula since 4:30 in the morning, just to let her know what was going on. And told her to come around 11 a.m. I think. So let's see. I told Kenny he should go into work because I wasn't sure how long it was going to take, and his job was fairly close at the time. So even if he needed to rush back home, he would easily be able to do that. So we just did regular things, me and my mom and my doula. We were just doing regular things, and we even walked to our neighborhood playground to kind of ramp up the contractions. It didn't quite work, but Ken had fun, so that was important. Then everybody came. It was like a party, essentially. It was awesome. Let's see. By that night, the contractions still weren't increasing in intensity or frequency, so I just decided that we were going to fill our birth pool up, which was not an actual birth pool, but just a kiddie pool that we got off of Amazon. So we put that in the basement. But the first slight mishap was that our hose wouldn't attach from our bathroom faucet to the tub. From the hose of, you guys know what I'm talking about, the hose that we were trying to put water in wouldn't attach to our shower. So that was the first big issue. We finally got it, but somebody had to hold it there the whole time, which was not fun. And then our water started running out, our hot water, so we needed to boil pots of water and bring them all the way downstairs, which also wasn't the plan. So those were a few things that probably stalled the labor a little bit, but that's fine. After that, let's see. I was only probably in the pool for like 30 minutes, and then it was just too cold to be in there, and I was uncomfortable, so I just got out. And then, not after long, my mom realized that the birth pool was actually leaking onto the carpet. We did have a tarp, but we forgot to put it down, so water was just soaking from the pool onto the carpet. It was terrible. That's a whole nother story about how we got all that out and got that cleaned up, but we'll save that for another time. So now it's Thursday, really early in the morning, and things still aren't really picking up, so we sent our doula home to rest and be with her family. And contractions were really slow all of Thursday, but they were still there, and I still wasn't really able to sleep through many of them, but they were very spaced out, and not so intense that I knew that labor was imminent, but also not the least bit intense where I could sleep through them, if that makes sense. So after our doula went home, I just let her know that if she was able to, she could come back, and she offered that night to bring over a dehumidifier. So at this point, we were all fed up with such a long labor, so Kenny made me some super spicy curry. I don't even remember if it was rice or what it was, but it was super spicy curry whatever. And Matisse was feeding me mangoes and pineapples, which are supposed to be great for labor. And then they both encouraged me to take some more castor oil because nothing else was working. So I didn't want to do more castor oil because I was sure, like, I just got lucky the first time. As many of you know, castor oil will run you straight to the bathroom, and it didn't happen to me the first time, so I was really nervous about trying it for a second time because I thought I'd just lucked up. I was just being lucky with the first one. But so they still convinced me to do it, and I took a tablespoon an hour for 2 hours. So I just took 2 more tablespoons, and by that night, either one or all of those things worked, and my contractions were super intense, and I knew that something was going on, and that she was going to be here really soon. So I had Kenny call our doula back sometime after midnight on Friday, so it was super early Friday morning, and by 3 a.m. I was just vocalizing like crazy to get through each and every contraction. Let's see, I felt like I needed to get in the bathtub. Since we didn't have the birth pool anymore, I just had to use our regular shower bathtub, and I stayed in there for a really long time, like a really long time. I started feeling kind of pushy, so I just went for it, and I pushed, 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 and nothing was really happening. And I was checking myself, and I still couldn't feel her head, although I was feeling pushy, so I knew that something was going on that we needed to fix. So then at one point, I was leaning over my ottoman, trying to get through the contractions, trying to get through the urge to push, and I definitely hit transition. I was throwing up, just feeling really shaky, not knowing if I wanted to go here or go there. I was like running back and forth from the bathroom to our bedroom, and at that point I was definitely in transition. I couldn't really tell at the time, even though that was all the telltale signs that I was in transition, but I was just so out of it that I didn't really recognize that. But yeah, that was rough. So let's see. At that time, running back and forth, trying to figure out what position would be comfortable. So with me checking myself and feeling pushy and still not being able to feel her head, my doula suggested that we do this spinning babies maneuver called the lift and tuck. So she grabbed a towel and told me that for the next 10 contractions she would lift my belly with the towel while I like tucked my pelvis in. My back was like against her stomach, if that makes sense. So it was really difficult to stand through those contractions, but at the end of the 10th one, before she could even put the towel down, I was just yelling out like, oh, I have to push. And it's funny because I'd been pushing for 4 hours, but this was like real, true, intense, like unproductive pushing. So she ran to wake up Kenny and get everybody else who had fallen asleep, because after like 54 hours, I can understand that most people would be asleep while I was doing all this. So at this point, I knew that Mae was coming really quick and I needed to get in the tub because I definitely still wanted to have a water birth. And I also wanted to have that little bit of relief during the pushing stage. So I got back into the tub and I reached down and I felt her head finally after all of that, and her hair, of course. So that lift and tuck really, really worked. And I just let my body take over and I just pushed with my body to help guide her out. And after about 9 minutes or so of pushing, I reached down and I just kind of gently guided her head out and then her body. And I pulled her up out of the water and brought her up to my chest. And I definitely cried out at that point, like, I did it, I can't believe I did it. After having a C-section with Ken and then her birth, it was so powerful and uplifting. So that was really awesome. She wasn't breathing right away or crying right away, so I just kind of suctioned her nose and mouth with mine and like spit the fluid back into the water. Kind of gross, but as a mom you don't really care. And then she let out just like the faintest little cry, and I knew that she was fine. So I just kind of let her start breathing and crying on her own after that. And actually, I was planning on the placenta not being born for another hour, maybe 2 or even more. But after only a couple of minutes, I definitely started having really intense contractions again. So I handed her off to Kenny and stood up in the bathtub and just pushed. So after a little while, I noticed that the cord was kind of wrapped around a few places on Mae. Once around her neck, I think once or twice around her chest, and once around her wrist, which kind of explains why I felt like her cord was so short. So I just unraveled her, and of course no harm from any of that. And I got that giant placenta out, and after that I just kind of rinsed off and we went to go sit down. I lost kind of a good amount of blood and had lots of clots in the water, which I knew would happen because my iron was pretty low while I was pregnant. I stood up, got some water, got some oranges, just took it really slow getting out of the bathtub because I was feeling kind of faint from losing that amount of blood, but I was fine. And then we eventually ended up weighing her, tying off her cord and cutting it, measuring her, and just doing all those cute little firsts. And with the placenta, we ended up doing placenta smoothies, which honestly was delicious. It helped me not get postpartum, no hair falling out yet. Hopefully it doesn't fall out, but it just made me feel really great. So the placenta smoothies were a hit, and lots of the ladies in the family tried it too. But yeah, that's how Mae was born. You say hi? Say hey, everybody.
I remember coming downstairs and seeing my niece in your arms. I'm like, dang, she really got here. I mean, I was excited because there's another woman in the family now, and I think that's what we need more because all these boys around here. So, yeah. That's the word I'm looking for. Dang. I'm grateful to have a niece, and I'm just happy that she's here and healthy.
I want the best for her. I know her parents will treat her right and make her feel welcome to the world and be there for her.
That's so nice. All right, what was your most memorable or your favorite part of Mae being born?
Everything.
What's up, big fellas?
Remember when baby Mae was born? Yeah. What was your favorite part?
The Mae.
The Mae?
Yeah.
Your favorite part was when she was born?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you give her lots of hugs and kisses?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, King. What was your favorite part of Mae being born?
About watching TV.
Really? That was your favorite part? Alright, thanks, buddy. So, what was your favorite or most memorable part about Mae being born?
The whole ordeal. I mean, thinking that she was going to be born one day, and then she was born another day, and then we came back for the finale. We stayed all night, and it was just a wonderful, wonderful experience, and I wouldn't trade it in for anything. Not at all. And to see her for the first time, and her looking like her uncle, her youngest uncle first, and then the transformation. She looked like everybody, and it sums up, she looked like her mom. She ended up looking like her mom. So that's wonderful. That's a wonderful experience.
I said I never had a problem showing y'all the real me. Hair when it's crib when it's filthy. Hey Cardi. Okay, I'm sorry. She don't like those words. I'm sorry.
So, what was your favorite or most memorable part of Mae's birth?
Had so many, from our wine glasses to researching to get you those contractions so we can speed up and get to our girl. The most memorable part was being asleep with King and then waking up to and next thing you know, my baby girl was sliding on out, right? And then I got to hold you. And then I cried like you're crying now. I'm so happy that you're here. But yeah, we had so many. She's ready for me to get off camera, so toodles.
Okay, what was it like seeing her for the first time?
All the dudes.
Oh wow. My favorite part of Mae's birth was just to see her entering into the world, and the most memorable part was the fact that I was there for the labor and the delivery, and I had an opportunity to consume some of Mae's placenta. And the fact that she's my first granddaughter. And we're so in love and so blessed to have this wonderful young lady in our lives. But the whole process, to be honest, was so memorable and exciting, and all of it was my favorite. I enjoyed every bit of it. And this is our little Princess May.
So if you guys have any questions about Mae'S birth, or about my pregnancy, about having an unassisted birth or a home birth, anything like that, feel free to comment down below and I'll get back to you. Thanks for watching.